Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much for tuning in. We have so much to talk about. And when the Wall Street Journal editorial board, this is not a wonderful writer in the editorial board, or this is not a wonderful writer in the Wall Street Journal. Cheryl Atkinson is a great writer. She's a great writer. No, oh my God, what am I? There's a wonderful writer in the Wall Street Journal, Kimberly Strassel. Kimberly Strassel is a great writer, and she's always in the Wall Street Journal. She's fantastic. And this isn't just Kimberly Strassel. She's actually a member of the Wall Street Journal editorial board. She's fantastic. But this is the entire editorial board. So this is not just one amazing writer. This is the entire editorial board. I am telling you, ladies and gentlemen, when the Wall Street Journal editorial board titles a headline in the same way I would, says the same things I've been saying, and Kimberly Strassel is absolutely amazing. Her writing is fantastic. But when the entire Wall Street Journal publication talks about a bureaucratic attempt to remove the president, that is enormous, absolutely enormous, because this is no longer like H.A. Goodman telling you, oh, this is going to happen, this is happening. Everyone knows it now. So it's like things that I've been saying on this channel for 2 years now. Everyone knows this. This is all public record. It's always been public record, but nobody really wanted to take the leap. Nobody really wanted to, say, hey, look, this was an attempt to remove the president. It was a bureaucratic attempt, a bureaucratic coup. What they did was they hid behind suspicion. They hid behind, you cannot hide behind suspicion to engage in a criminal investigation. Otherwise, Bill and Hillary Clinton would have already been indicted on numerous charges just from the 90s based on suspicion. You can't say, well, we're going to start this unlawful investigation, and by the way, we're going to indict you on obstruction of justice when you try to impede this unlawful investigation based on pure animus, based on pure dislike or disagreement with your policies. To my super chat, by the way, thank you so very much. You give me every incentive to rock these live streams. Andrew Mccabe, before I get to reading this Wall Street Journal article, Andrew Mccabe is singing, and he is singing an amazing tune. He is singing and singing and singing and singing, and he's singing an amazing tune. And he actually stated that Rod Rosenstein went to James Comey for advice after he told Trump to fire Comey. Can you believe that? I mean, that is beyond. I mean, that is, you can't wrap your mind around that one. It was Trump's prerogative to fire James Comey, and there was evidence. There were enough reasons to fire Comey, and when Rod Rosenstein was forced to do the right thing, he then went to James Comey, which is hilarious because Andrew McCabe is implicating them. He's stating to the world that they're complicit. They're complicit in wrongdoing. Because you can't, if you're the Department of Justice, if you're the Deputy Attorney General, you don't go to a fired employee for advice. I'm sorry. I have a great deal of respect for the United States Postal Service. The average postal employee has done more for this country than James Comey. Just because you're an FBI director doesn't mean that you should be revered or no. This guy, James Comey, what he did was put his political interests above the future and the safety of our country. And that's not hyperbole. He helped thrust this nation into a new Cold War because Clinton lost and she had to save face. And now McCabe also did, and so did Strzok. But Comey was the head of everything. AZ Wrenchmaster! Attempt to overthrow the elected president of the United States. Here's a book deal. There's a book. Exactly. Well, you know, that was good. AZ Wrenchmaster. He's not, they don't make, on these book deals, they don't make that much. They make maybe like initially $100,000, maybe 150. It could be a little bit more depending on the person. I mean, Comey probably made a lot more, but at the end of the day, this is all going, AZ Wrenchmaster, it's all going to McCabe's legal fees. He's going to get indicted. Andrew McCabe will get indicted. How do we know? Because there's been a criminal referral from there was a criminal referral from the IG, Michael Horowitz. He lied 3 times under oath. So this is the guy who, like you said, AZ Wrenchmaster, thank you. He has a book deal. The guy lied 3 times under oath. Now he's turning against Rod Rosenstein. Think about what he just said about the Deputy Attorney General. Okay, trust Sessions, everyone. In Trump's own Department of Justice. Think about what he just said. This is hysterical. That the Deputy Attorney General engaged in talks to put a wire. Mr. President, your hair looks fantastic today. What was that? Speaking to the lapel. The Deputy Attorney General, according to McCabe, wanted to put a wire to tape Trump, wanted to implement the 25th Amendment along with other officials. That's bad enough because Rosenstein denies it. There's reports that say, well, he denies it. It was a joke. It was in passing, whatever. It's not. How is that in passing? How do you just say, oh, 25th Amendment? And by the way, let's go for sushi for lunch. Or, what are you doing? You want to go to the bar after work? No, it's like, how do you segue from let's remove the president because he's incapacitated, God forbid? How do you segue from that? But see, what McCabe is doing is insidious, but also very strategic. He knows he's working with a den of vipers. He knows that Rod Rosenstein is going to throw him under the bus. He knows Comey's going to throw him under the bus. Comey wants to testify against McCabe. How do we know? Because he said that. Comey said this in a CNN interview. Okay? Comey stated this in a CNN interview. So, that's that. I mean, he's the only one of this den of vipers, the only one who has a criminal referral out for him, aside from James Baker. Sorry. So there's two right now that have 2 criminal referrals. James Baker, because there's a criminal investigation because he leaked to the press, and he actually wanted to indict Hillary Clinton, and James Comey said no. So it wasn't unanimous. He lied about that too. James Comey lied about a whole bunch of things under oath. But you have 2 top FBI officials who are under criminal investigation and the rest fired. 2 top FBI officials under criminal investigation and the rest fired. Okay? Then you have McCabe saying, oh, by the way, Rod Rosenstein engaged in something that's almost certainly against protocol. It is against protocol to speak to a fired federal employee and get their advice Advice on what? Very likely the Mueller probe. So think about it this way. McCabe is fighting back because he has to. Because James Comey, Rod Rosenstein, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, all of them are looking at McCabe and James Baker, and they're saying, look, these two people are under criminal investigation. Let me just give prosecutors or Trump any information that they want to ensure that they spend all their time on McCabe and James Baker. They don't realize that they too will eventually be indicted. So, I mean, James Comey eventually is going to get indicted. Andrew McCabe before him. These people engaged in highly illegal behavior. There are statutes that prevent this type of thing from taking place. And they say, well, there's no collusion statute. Oh, but we can get Trump on fraud. This was a fraud perpetrated against the United States of America. So the same statutes that talked about a fraud, this was a fraud perpetrated. But the FBI's Trump panic, McCabe reveals how officials contemplated a bureaucratic coup. Smooth Mike! Smooth Mike! HJ noticed the lamestream media is not even mentioning Tulsi Gabbard's name when talking DNC 2020. I love Tulsi Gabbard. Why? Because she tells the truth about war. And this is coming from someone who's never been a Dem. Exactly. Smooth Mike. Thank you. You know what? Smooth Mike, I liked Tulsi Gabbard in 2024 is the only hope for Democrats. Tulsi Gabbard is a veteran. Tulsi Gabbard is intelligent. Tulsi Gabbard has convictions and values, and she's not going to she actually left the DNC. So I agree with you on that. But she's a huge obstacle for the Democrats, because then you have somebody who is not an interventionist. They can't have that. They run on an interventionist foreign policy. Smooth Mike, thank you as always for your support of this channel. They run on an interventionist foreign policy. So Tulsi Gabbard, she doesn't focus her life on semantics and words, and they can't have that. They can't have that. So I agree with you. Also, the media doesn't like her because she actually flew, but on her own volition to speak to a dictator to get some kind of peace agreement or to understand what's going on the ground. And they didn't like that either. But thank you again. Thank you again, Smooth Mike. Thank you. The American people have largely been so this is the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal. They had zero reason, by the way, to investigate Trump. Simply saying you're suspicious does not mean that you are that gives you the justification to start an investigation. You need a predicate crime. You need probable cause. There was no money flow between Trump and Putin and Russia. There was nothing. They had no evidence of anything. They still don't have any evidence of anything. 2 years, the Senate found no evidence. Mueller has a report. He's going to Office Depot. He's going to Office Depot to get the little shiny little report covers. This is 2 years of nonsense. 2 years of nonsense. But let's just read this right here. This is the Wall Street Journal opinion. The FBI's Trump panic. McCabe reveals how officials contemplated a bureaucratic coup. The American people have largely taken the disruptive Trump presidency. Disruptive. Well, I think he's a great president in stride, going about their lives and expressing their approval or not the constitutional way at the ballot box. The same can't be said for many of the country's panicked elites. As we are learning anew about the Federal Bureau of Investigation, as former Deputy Director Andrew McCabe hawks a new memoir. Mr. McCabe now says that after Mr. Trump fired FBI Director James Comey, In May of 2017, Mr. Mccabe and senior Justice Department officials, quote, discussed whether the vice president and a majority of the cabinet could be brought together to remove the president of the United States on the 25th Amendment. James Comey's firing is an example of sanity, not insanity, not irrational behavior linked to being incapacitated. James Comey should have been fired by President Obama. James Comey is an overt, crooked criminal. He lied under oath numerous times. He said that there were statutes that Clinton violated. Then he injected his own viewpoint of what a reasonable prosecutor would do, and it wasn't his call. Even the IG report said he was insubordinate in numerous examples of insubordination. Firing James Comey was an act of sanity that should be applauded by humanity forever. But see, this is the way they work. The way they work is, if you dare fire James Comey, like one of the biggest reptiles in the swamp, then you must be out of your mind. So then let's talk about the 25th Amendment. You know, it's his right to fire Comey. It was his right. Comey was fired because he covered up for Clinton. That's why Comey was fired. Comey was fired because Clinton committed crimes. There were statutes that she violated, and there's evidence that the evidence points to intentional use, which obviously it was intent. The whole thing was to hide Clinton Foundation emails, and in doing so, she transferred illegally top secret intelligence from the Joint Worldwide Intelligence Communications System outside of the United States government. In the interview, Mccabe says Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein raised the 25th Amendment scenario and discussed it with me in the context of thinking about how many other cabinet officials might support such an effort. McCabe said he didn't contribute much, but McCabe said he didn't contribute much. How hilarious is that? McCabe said he didn't contribute much. Joe Moss, exactly. McCabe said he didn't contribute much. How does that even work? And how do you gauge how much you contribute? So these people are like, and then, okay, yes, McCabe's like, yeah, he was a great leader, but then he was like, yeah, and you know, he spoke with Rosenstein. So they're all frenemies. You know what frenemies are? Oh, you look great today. Oh, I know what you mean by that. Well, thanks a lot. You look great also. No, you look really great. No, you look really great. I'll talk to you later. Talk to you later. And then like 2 seconds later, they go to their friends. Did you see what he said? He said I looked great. That's code for fat. Zaytoon Report. Zaytoon Report. Thank you so very, very much. Zaytoon Report. Thank you so very much for watching. Thank you, Zaytoon Report. Thank you. So, this is Zaytoon Report. Thank you so very, very much for your support of this channel. Thank you. McCabe is very slithery. He's a slithery political. They're both very. Comey said, in CNN, I told you, said, he was a good guy. I'm friends with McCabe, but if you need me to testify, I'm here. Call me. I said, McCabe's a really good guy. I'm friends with him. If you need testimony against him, call me. Yeah, no problem. That's just, I am disappointed that he lied under oath. That's the thing. That's the this indictments guy is awesome. I used to be the other. Oh my goodness. Wow. So you have where am I? So you have let's just continue with this. This is hilarious. I have the best chat. McCabe was fired. Mr. McCabe was fired last year for lying to FBI investigators, so it's hard to know how much to believe. He also tried to qualify the interview after excerpts were disclosed, with a spokesperson saying that while Mr. McCabe participated in a discussion that included a comment. I love this. It's a comment. How do you gauge a comment? Is a comment a standalone statement? Right? Of course, it's not just a comment. They were all conspiring. Andrew McCabe is part of the insurance policy text from Strzok. The whole thing was about an insurance policy. They were all in on it. And yes, wonderful, beautiful, amazing Q people. Sorry. Like I said from the beginning, it was an 8chan, ridiculous, nonsensical hoax. And Sessions, that whole DOJ was absolutely against Trump. Even Sessions was, because Sessions didn't have to be that hands off. Even if he recused himself, he didn't have to be that hands off. He could have appointed a special counsel. He didn't have to appoint Huber. He could have appointed a special counsel. So that had nothing to do with the Russia probe, by the way. Mr. Rosenstein said he wasn't in a position to consider invoking the 25th Amendment, but doesn't deny the discussion. See, this is legal, like the lawyer talk, like, well, who cares if you were in a position or not? You spoke about it. Thank you, Eric H526. Thank you. You spoke about it. That's the whole thing. They spoke about, look, it's really easy, okay? It's not hard. They wanted to set up Trump. They set up an investigation. They got GCHQ. They got the Steele dossier purchased by Clinton. They got a CrowdStrike information outsourced by Clinton. And they started an investigation. So if in the event that he won, they could investigate him to the point of no end and remove him from office. Meanwhile, Clinton was so utterly corrupt and criminal that she engaged in numerous crimes, so many crimes to the point that even after Comey and Strzok and McCabe and James Baker and Lisa Page and all of them, after they covered up Clinton's crimes, then we found out that former Congressman Anthony Weiner, his laptop had classified intelligence and thousands of Clinton emails. Then Comey had to write the Comey letter, this is absurd. This whole thing is absurd. Okay? This is a comedy of errors. You know, sometimes in baseball, a team will just have a bad inning. The Cubs had this against the Marlins years back before they won the World Series years and years ago, where it'll be like one error and then another error, and then it'll finally 2 outs and then 2 or 3 errors and then like 5-6 runs score, and that's it. I mean, you'll have 5. I mean, it's like you'll have 5 or 6 runs score, and it's like when will it end? When will the suffering end? And so with Clinton, you had her transfer top secret intelligence, and nobody even discussed how she did it. That's the question. How did she do it? And I explained that in Butter Top Secret emails below in my books on Amazon. People are still buying them. But so after they cover that up, which obviously she committed numerous crimes, U.S. Code 793F. After she covered that up, well, then you have this 2 years of a Mueller probe, which amounted to nothing. Mr. Rosenstein said he wasn't in a position to invoke the 25th Amendment. So who's lying here? Is it Mccabe or Rosenstein? And by the way, who's lying? Did James Comey allow Mccabe to leak information to the Wall Street Journal, or did Mccabe do so without Comey's approval? This is extraordinary. As far as we know, unprecedented. A president exercises his constitutional prerogative to fire the FBI director, and Mr. Comey's associates immediately talked about deposing him in what would amount to a coup. The 25th Amendment was passed after JFK's assassination to allow for a transfer of power when a president is unable to discharge his duties. It is intended to be used only after demonstrated evidence of impairment, only after demonstrated evidence of impairment that is witnessed by those closest to the commander-in-chief. It doesn't exist to settle political differences or let scheming bureaucrats imagine they are saving the country from someone they fear as a Manchurian candidate. The constitutional process for that is impeachment. And even impeachment isn't even, Mitchell Smith, thank you. The domino effect in D.C. will be a sight to see. Oh, happy days. Yes. 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 It will be a domino effect. McCabe gets indicted. And he will get indicted. Okay. It's game on. It is game, set, match. It is game, set, match. Oh, my God. So, okay, the 25th Amendment solution for removing President Trump declared a May 2017 headline in the New York Times. The thoughts seemed too silly to write about at the time, but apparently we underestimated the lack of faith in American democracy and institutions among the political and media class. The elite panic was a bigger threat to constitutional norms than anything Mr. Trump is known to have done. Exactly. All of these people who talk about Trump, they're the ones who are a danger to the republic, not Trump. The McCabe account also fits with what else we know about the FBI during the Comey era. Mr. Comey saw fit to start a counterintelligence probe into the Trump campaign based on thin evidence, not even evidence, of Russian contacts. His agents then used an opposition research document financed by the Clinton campaign to justify a warrant. And then there's CrowdStrike, which was outsourced by Hillary Clinton. The United States government never touched the DNC servers. Mitchell Smith, thank you as always. Thank you, Mitchell Smith. Thank you. Then in July of 2016, Mr. Comey violated justice rules to exonerate Hillary Clinton on his own authority in the email probe. Then, to protect himself against second-guessing from Congress after the election, he intervened again in violation of department rules to reopen the Clinton probe 11 days before Election Day. I was at UPS, and the manager at UPS said, Clinton is dangerous. And I think she was going to vote for Clinton. But after Comey did that, nobody was going to vote for Clinton. Comey sunk the campaign. It was Comey. But it wasn't Comey. It was Clinton's criminal behavior. She had more classified intelligence outside the U.S. government than within the U.S. government on her servers. This intervention may have done more so to elect Mr. Trump than anything else in the final weeks of the campaign, as Nate Silver and other analysts have argued. Well, of course it did. Of course it did. After his firing, Mr. Comey arranged a media leak that prompted Mr. Rosenstein to appoint Robert Mueller as a special counsel to investigate Trump-Russia campaign ties. 21 months later, we are still waiting for evidence of collusion as the Mueller probe rolls on seemingly without end. Mr. Trump's enemies still claim he's a Russian agent, while millions of his supporters think there is a deep state conspiracy, yes, which there is. And a Russian agent, there's evidence of an intel community plot against him. There's evidence of that. This whole article is that. But Mr. Trump's enemies still claim he's a Russian agent, with zero evidence because they convinced themselves. It's not going to end well for Democrats, okay? They cheated Bernie Sanders, and they blamed Russia. It's like they've continually spiraled into never-ending lies, and it's just not going to work out well. This is all corrosive to public trust in American democracy. The Senate last week confirmed William Barr as Attorney General, and he has no more urgent task than restoring some of the public trust. He needs to indict Clinton eventually. He will. Somebody, the Justice Department will eventually. He could start by explaining to the public in a major speech where the FBI, I'm not doing a major speech, no thanks. We need indictments. Where the FBI went so badly wrong and what he will do to make it sure it never happens again. The only way to make sure it never happens again. See, now they're being the Wall Street Journal is great, but they're being very diplomatic. He could start with the speech. Nobody cares about what William Barr says. We need people indicted who committed crimes. We need people indicted. They committed a fraud against the United States. Major fraud against the United States. Whoever knowingly executes or attempts to execute any scheme or artifice with intent to defraud the United States. There you go. Any individual who is discharged, demoted, suspended, threatened. Okay, so there are different. Okay, conspiracy to defraud the United States. If two or more persons conspire either to commit an offense against the United States or to defraud the United States or any agency thereof in manner or in any manner or any purpose, there you go. 19 USC 371, conspiracy to defraud the United States. There was a lot of money involved. There was a lot of money involved with the Mueller probe. A lot of money. There's the legal statute. That possibly is the legal statute. I mean, you have a situation here, ladies and gentlemen, where these are statutes that were broken. (18 U.S. Code 371), conspiracy to commit offense or to defraud the United States. If two or more persons conspire either to commit any offense against the United States or to defraud the United States or any agency thereof in any manner or for any purpose, and one or more such persons do any act to affect the object of a conspiracy, each shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 5 years or both. So, Mitchell Smith, thank you as always. Yeah, you know, it's federal conspiracy laws. This is one law firm. When a conspiracy to commit an offense or defraud the government may first seem like a plot, so they said charges of conspiracy are more common than you think. So let's see. There's a whole bunch of so they're trying to say that they were trying to say that Trump committed a conspiracy, but actually if a non-citizen contributes anything of value, oh, how about the Steele dossier? All of these, this isn't actually an article, it's the conspiracy, stupid. This is a Daily Cause article. All of this pertains, you can actually use this because there's evidence of a conspiracy on the Clinton, McCabe, Steele dossier, Glenn Simpson reality of things. So their whole thing was, oh, collusion is not a crime, huh? But conspiracy is. We're getting them under conspiracy. If two or more persons conspire either to commit an offense against the United States or defraud the United States or any agency thereof in any manner, all of this is a bureaucratic coup simply because they hated Trump. We know they hated Trump because of Strzok's text messages. Strzok spilled the beans, and then Andrew McCabe, his wife got money. I mean, they actually laid out the case against themselves in going after Trump. I mean, that's the thing. That's what's really interesting here. You have conspiracy laws, U.S. codes, 18 U.S. code 371, 52 U.S. code 30121. Contributions and donations by foreign nationals. Yeah, the Steele dossier was funneled through a law firm to pay, and it was to a British MI6 agent, a foreign national. If a non-citizen contributes anything of value, they are violating the statute. Well, there you go. You talk about campaign finance violations. It's like, I wrote an article on this. Clinton is numerous campaign finance violations. Then they're like, fraud and related activity in connection with computers. Well, and then they say, well, hacking the DNC would certainly be a crime. Yeah, and so would fabricating such a hack, wouldn't it? Truth Hurts 18. Christopher Steele admitted in British court he was employed by Clinton to contest the election result. Pure proof of exactly. Truth Hurts 18. Thank you. Exactly. So you have all of this right here. It's really interesting because all of the accusations against Trump actually pertain to Clinton. So this is interesting. I mean, this is getting good. It's getting very good. It's getting very, very, very good. And we just need some major action. That's all. It's getting good. We need some major action. We just need some, because, I mean, you have people, and I actually do think, I really do think, I really do think that Trump knows what he's doing regarding this. But I mean, you have so many things taking place now that, like, the Green New Deal was the most ridiculous. You can't even vote on it. It's not even legislation. It's a resolution. It did nothing, and I explained in my Federalist article. So, ladies and gentlemen, below my Federalist article, please go ahead and share. how the Green New Deal would exploit poverty-stricken people across the globe. You just can't wave a magic wand and say, "Well, there you go. Everything's great. Everything's wonderful." And then, I mean, the 107,000 jobs that were taken, I'm that prevented, I should say, prevented by AOC. I mean, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? How are you helping people get out of poverty? How is that economic justice? It's just they're all turning on each other. They're all turning on each other. Um, oh, I missed the super chat. Oh, no, 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 I didn't miss a super chat. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, there's no loyalty among thieves. Absolutely. Absolutely. The best part of all of this, I have to say, the best part is when they're nice to each other. Like, do you see them trying to be nice to each other? Like, oh yeah, he was a great leader. Everyone was so sad he left. Who cares? And number one, not everyone was. You don't think there's people who were like, yeah, James Comey's crooked. There's not a an office in the country or in the world where everyone in the office loves the boss. That it doesn't happen. There's not a team in the world where everyone in the team loves the coach. It just doesn't happen. So that's ridiculous. But let's look. Andrew McCabe. He is in major. And then Trump today. Wow, so many lies by now. Disgraced acting FBI director Andrew McCabe. He was fired for lying, and now his story gets even more deranged. He and Rod Rosenstein, who was hired by Jeff Sessions, another beauty. Oh my God, I didn't see this. And then, like, one response: the 20th Amendment is 100% legal. What the heck? Criminal conspiring with Russia is 100% illegal. Oh my God, yeah, that never happened. And if it's illegal, then indict Clinton on it. Oh my God. So he's still taking shots. He's still disparaging Jeff Sessions. To any Q people remaining, he's still another beauty. That's so great. Wow, so many lies by he was fired for lying, and now his story gets even more deranged. He and Rod Rosenstein, who was hired by Jeff Sessions, another beauty. Another beauty. Looked like they were planning a very illegal act and got caught. Yes. Yes. I love the people who still um I love the people who still think, oh my God, this is a mental health counselor who's calling Trump Mr. Tangerine Man. That's amusing. This is hilarious. There's a lot of explaining to millions of people who just elected a president who they really like and who has done a great job for them with the military, vets, economy, and so much more. This was illegal and treasonous insurance policy in full action. There you go. There you go. Kimberly Strassel. Oh, the bullet train fiasco. Okay, Gavin Newsom. William Barr is arriving at the Justice Department that desperately needs an infusion of credibility. Wow. Then that's another Wall Street Journal article. McCabe's wife received big dollars from Clinton people for her campaign. Disgraced FBI Director Andrew McCabe pretends to be a poor little angel when in fact he was a big part of Hillary Clinton's scandal and the Russia hugs. Oh my God. He's going after, he's retweeting everything. He's retweeting everything. He's retweeting his retweets. 5541 James. But that's the thing. He very likely is swampy, but you need the swamp to take care of itself, or you need the establishment, I should say. 5541 James, you need the establishment to take care of itself. Michael LaRusso, yes, I agree on this. On nowadays, definitely. Inga Hicks, do you think Dem Party is imploding on itself? I think it is. I think the Democratic Party will continue to implode, and I think that they are going to. The true believers are going to just push people away, because it's going to be like the French Revolution of, without violence, the French Revolution of political thought. No one's going to be pure enough. No one's going to be good enough. No one's going to be moral enough. No one is going to be good enough. There's nobody who's going to be good enough. And by the way, Bernie is no longer the standard on the left. He's like an afterthought. He is despised by the establishment, and he's also not really. I mean, people are in the left. They don't really. He's not motivating anybody. He doesn't motivate, I should say. There aren't going to be any more speeches with Bernie like, yeah, we're gonna, shake the system up. You cheated. You got cheated, buddy, and you didn't even fight back. So how are you going to fight? How are you going to shake up the system? And you're not even happy that Trump's bringing home Americans from war, or there's prison reform. I mean, it's like he pushed the same myth used to convince people he wasn't cheated. He pushed the same myth used that said Russia that says Russia utilized the fact he was cheated to hurt Hillary Clinton. It's like how ridiculous is that? They've wrapped their criminal behavior in a cloak of nonsense. Inga Hicks, yes, I think it's only a matter of time before, and we're seeing this now. I mean, we're seeing this with like a whole lot of we're seeing this with, I mean, actors who are pretending to have experienced horrible things. I mean, I have a segment on that. But we have a whole bunch of, like, whether it's Andrew McCabe or James Comey or Strzok or Page, it's all, I mean, you cannot lie that much. You have, when you work with so many corrupt people, at the end of the day, you just can't, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. George Vernon Jr. Who knew that the great heard was foreshadowed implosion? Now, you see, I used to do a good Ross Perot. I used to, if you would let me talk, Al Gore, if I could get in a word in edgewise, well, that's because you're you and I'm me. if you would just let me talk for one moment. Okay, you're wrong about NAFTA. Here's a chart. Here. Again, he's interrupting me. He's interrupting me yet again. Larry King, are you not going to do anything? Well, why don't I do this? Why don't I just go back home to Texas and you can have an interview with both of us, with me at home, not being here. This way, you can just have Al Gore speak. Obviously, you're not going to let me speak. So as I was saying, if you just look again, this man will not stop. George Rivera Jr., exactly. He was awesome. You know, Ross Perot was awesome. George Rivera Jr., thank you. Yeah, they're imploding. Inga Hicks, do you think the Dems are mad at Bernie for yes? I think they most of them despise Bernie Sanders. Oh, they despise him. And you can they despise him with the power of 1,000 suns. You think the Dems are mad at Bernie since it was his loss that spurned all of this? It lit the fire. Do you think? Yes. Well, yeah. What took place was they didn't like his policy. They cheated him beyond belief. And they realized that without his policies, whether they're feasible or not feasible, they don't have any grassroots support. So that's why they have the new improved versions in Beto O'Rourke, Kamala Harris, and Elizabeth Warren. Well, they have copies. Smooth Mike, thank you. Inga Hicks, thank you. Case Thought Palace, please do Jeff Sessions. Okay. Case Thought Palace. Here I am minding my own business. Yeah. And he's insulting me again. Don't you know that LMNOP is supposed to help you? Trust the plan, man. I bust my kumquats for you. I tried to look at all the wonderful things I did. I made the Mueller probe. I hired Hot Rod. I did so many wonderful, great things for you. And you disrespect me, you diss yourself. Used to be friends, but now we're foes. Ask me why, no one knows. I'm not friends with Trump anymore. He insulted me today and all the wonderful LMNOP people. Okay, bye. Case Thought Palace, thank you. George Rivera Jr., thank you. Huber was last seen golfing in Utah. Golfing, and there's amazing whiskey in Utah. Not that I know, but there's this amazing company that makes this really amazing whiskey. I think I'll buy. But nah, just joking. Well, maybe. There's a really amazing whiskey company. Horace! Sounds like Sessions needs a drink. Sessions needs more than a drink. After all I've done for you, I tried to destroy your life with the 25th Amendment. And all I get is dissing me. How dare you use my name in vain once again? Called me a beauty. Trump called him, he says, what a beauty. Oh my God. That whole Q thing. It's like, and I lost 1,000 subs, almost about 800 and something. And then I got them all back within like a month. But my God. Oh my God. You don't even know. When you find out, you don't even know. When you find out, you don't even know. That's what I heard for like a week straight. You don't even know. When you find, have you done your research? Have you done your research? I knew it was a fad, a dangerous fad. But, yeah. So, yeah, it's, oh, look at that. It's still going. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is crazy. Horace! Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen, what can I tell you? It's um it's going down. It's going to be awesome. That's all I can tell you. It is going down. It is going down. And now, I mean, now it's just a matter of conflicting testimonies, a fraud perpetrated. You have a fraud perpetrated against government agencies. I mean, this needs to look. It just doesn't have to be like, you know, just one indictment. Just hook us up with one, William Barr. I think that I'll go ahead and recommend indictments of Andrew McCabe. Maybe because he lied 3 times under oath. Golly gee, I don't really want to. But once I would have let it go. Twice, but 3 times, I don't know if I can even let it go, really. Could you imagine, like, if you lie once under oath, like any other person, it's like done. This guy lied three times under oath. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Josh. Thank you. 3 times under oath. Let's type in Andrew McCabe. Remarkable number of Trump-Russia contacts. What about the Clinton-Russia contacts? Not only contacts, but they're actually like, I don't know, paid for a dossier that was allegedly compiled with Russian intelligence sources, which luckily for Christopher Steele is a bunch of nonsense. Still, though, and like one of my amazing viewers stated, Christopher Steele in court in the UK said, yeah, he was commissioned to harm Trump's chances. So that's what he already stated. Thank you, Armed American We the People. Everyone, check out my Second Amendment channel. Thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be back numerous times today. Thank you so very much to my super chat. Thank you. Thank you to my super chat. And I will be back numerous times today. Thank you so much, everyone. It's going down. This week's going to be awesome. Thank you.